So for those who don't get a chance to share their memories up here, we have some notepads and some linen note cards just through the entryway to your right, and pens, so please put down poems, put down memories, put down stories, and there's a box to collect those, and we'll scan them so people can see that and have them for the family as well. So just wanted to let you know that. So I learned a lot from Jim about swimming, about travel, about philosophy, about music, about poetry. And so it's about time for another poem. Hafiz says, Jim was a bit of a sage. Hafiz says, he liked the Sufi poets. Hafiz says, the small man builds cages for every person he meets. But the sage, who has to bow his head below the full moon, drops keys nightly to the rowdy, drunken prisoners. Rob Davis. Is Rob here? Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you may not know me, but I know all of you. Yeah. Most of you have swam in that cold bay. I actually did. And I was training for, I've been doing triathlons for about 20 years, and I wanted to do the Alcatraz one. And I told Jim about it. He goes, you need to go down to the South End Bay, or South End Club, and you'll be my guest. First thing you need to learn about is hypothermia. Now, is that a sale point? I said, so I did, and it was great. And all of you treated me so well. Like I've been swimming like here every day. So I bought my wetsuit, and I went down there, and they looked at me and they said, we don't wear wetsuits. So I dutifully took my wetsuit off, and I got in the water and went, and then I remember Jim telling me, he says, it's such an amazing experience. Just keep going, let your mind go. So I swam a mile, and I came back out, and I called up Jim, and I thanked him. I said, I really appreciate you allowing me to be a guest of your club. I said, but I froze my ass off. And he goes, that's not all. I said, I bet that thing was about this big. Now, about 42 years ago when I met Jim, I would say I would have been surprised. But after 42 years with Jim, knowing him since 1977, that isn't a surprise at all. I was a tenant of his in that wonderful little house on the property back in 1977. It was my second year working at Jordan Winery. I just graduated from Davis and worked at Jordan the first year, and then I knew Jim not as a friend, as just met him because he was looking for somebody as a tenant. Now, sui generis is the word that comes to mind. The French that I have is it's unique of its own kind. I do not know anybody that is like Jim. He's really unique of his own kind. But if you're a tenant of Jim Miller, you're not just a tenant, but you also have an extra roommate because Jim loves to pop in. Loves to pop in. And you never know when he's going to come by. So I would, he'd pop in and he'd kind of look through the window. I said, Jim, look, come on in. I just, vacuumed the place, cleaned everything up. He goes, yeah, but you need to get the windows, And settling the bill, now 1/4 of my income was going to Jim Miller, which was about the going rate, but it was such a beautiful place to live. Just waking up every morning and seeing this panorama of Elton Valley was just absolutely gorgeous. But settling the bill was always an adventure because it was $300 a month, and that was a lot for me. But I go up to pay the bill and settle the bill, and he goes, so I write the check Artie out. I said, here you go, Jim, $300. And Marty, you said, is he a good businessman? Absolutely. Well, it's not exactly $300. I said, well, that's what you told me the rent was. Well, but I had Sacramento, your lawn was getting a little bit too high, so I had to mow it. And then I saw that, I went ahead, it was the end of fall, and you had some leaves in the gutter, so I had them cleaned out. So it's actually $350. I didn't know it was going to be $350. I could have done that. But Jim was such a sweetheart. But when I said we all have the stories, and Jim, as I got to know him more and more, he's an incredibly intelligent person, knows so much about, he can literally speak on every topic, The only problem, you never know what topic's going to come up. So I was a young man at the time. Hillsbury wasn't anything what it was now. I mean, there was maybe a couple restaurants socially, and if you're 22 years old, you know, you're looking for perhaps some companionship, some friends to drop by, because certainly you're not going to really go into Hillsbury at the time. So I invite some friends over, and sometimes they'd be female. Well, Jim would do the pop-in, and then I would introduce him, you know, says, hey Jim, you know, this is my friend Polly, hope, you know, she's a friend of mine, we went to school together. And all of a sudden he got this big grin on his face, and you don't know what's coming. And he says, he looked at me and goes, do you know the ancient Indian sex rite for the matrimonial night? And he went, what? Yeah, before they make love, they've already done the vows, but then they cut the head off a rooster. And at that point, I don't know what the end of the story is, because I am shocked. And to this day, I wish I'd asked Jim, okay, what's the rest of it? But that was Jim, and it was just never know what was going to go on. But he was such a great person to know. So many wonderful times. And one of the things that also we shared was, I love the holidays and the seasons, and you know, the artwork that, the photography that Jim expresses, you know, is there. You know, you can see the seasons being celebrated. He felt that the paternal side of us is really lacking the maternal side. Mother Nature needs to be invested in all of this. And so he was constantly preaching about this, getting to know your maternal side. Well, May Day is coming up as my favorite day of the whole year. And why is that? You know, hardly anybody celebrates May Day. You know, in France it's called Labor Day, or the Muguet, or the Lily. But it's one of the most, to me, it's the peak of nature. It's when everything is going green. The flowers are coming out. Bloom is around the corner, which is really what our revenue is. I never try to think of revenue, but without bloom, without set, without crop, we don't have income. But the way it's expressed is just incredible energy of life. And so what I did, and I didn't know Jim was a photographer at the time, but I would go ahead and take these pictures of what I felt expressed May Day. And then I made these little cards, and everybody got a May Day card. And it touched Jim so sincerely. It was really neat. You know, people go, oh, Rob, I love the card. But it was different for Jim. He came up to me and goes, boy, this is such an expression of Mother Nature. You really are in touch with this. And then he started sharing a lot of his photography with me. And I just was really touched by this. His poetry, which I've become reading more, shows really the depth of this man. And after reading the poetry, I told Jim, I said, you know, you remind me in a way of a whitewater enthusiast that I am. You know, you love navigating the rough waters of life, you know, going through those. And then all of a sudden, just when you think you got it conquered, you'll hit this eddy, and the boat pops you up and sucks you down. One of the things that you're taught is that you have to relax. If you don't relax, you're not going to make it. So you're sucked down the bottom, and the power of this eddy is so strong, you think you're not going to make it out. And sure enough, wait long enough, and it pops you back out. Next thing you know, we're in this calm water. And that was Jim, this beautiful challenge of life that he took on and expressed it through his poetry, through his photography, through his friends, and his quirkiness, which I dearly love. These are the kind of people you want to have. And so it really does come kind of sudden that all of a sudden, you know, I learned from Justin and I read that, you know, my dear friend passed away, and so many memories come up, but it's such, then you just feel gratitude to know that you've had all these wonderful years with this wonderful man, unique of his own kind. And I just want you to do me a favor, because this is, it's Swimming with Jim, and all of those of you who did, this elation that comes, but just close your eyes for just a few seconds, and I'm not asking to pray, but this is Jim jumping in this 52-degree freezing water with him, and his head pops up, and now open your eyes, and you see this brilliant smile. And that's Jim, and that's what I carry with me. Thank you.